So I mentioned that one of the key jobs that we do is helping people make sense of what's happened and what's happening. And to explain how we do that, I was just going to say a bit about how CAMHS works. So when somebody is referred to our specialist service, and that's where the difficulties are quite complicated and have been going on for quite a long time, excuse me, first of all, we do something called an assessment. This is where we gather information. The next stage is where we do this thing called formulation. That's where we get what families have shared with us and we start to pull it all together into a story that helps them understand how they got to where they got to. And then we make recommendations about moving forward. In terms of that formulation that we do, that shared understanding, we do that through asking 4 questions. First of all, why me? What are the things that have happened in my life and what are the things that have happened to important people in my life that make this problem more likely or harder to manage? And also, what have the experiences in my life given me that might help me with the difficulties that I face? The next question we ask is why now? What's been happening recently that makes this problem more likely or more difficult to cope with? Next we ask why still? How come this problem still goes on? What are the things that are happening for the young person and for the people around them that leaves them feeling a bit stuck with this problem? What are the patterns that they've fallen into that keep the problem going? And the 4th thing we ask about is what helps. What have they learned from their time dealing with this problem and maybe getting on with other parts of their life that can help them at the moment? And what are their ideas about that? Once we've got answers to those 4 questions, we start to piece it together collaboratively with a young person and their family. And then we sort of work out what's going to be helpful in terms of support and treatment. So, for example, if it looks like the question why still is a big one, we might offer somebody family therapy. So with the people that they live with, they can work out how to change the patterns that keep the problem going. Or maybe how new relationships might enable them to move on from the problem. In terms of what helps, if a young person is struggling with really difficult thoughts and finding it hard to work out strategies to kind of deal with these difficult thoughts, we might offer them something called CBT, cognitive behaviour therapy. Or else we might give them a program of relaxation exercises or send them to one of our mindfulness classes. In CAMHS, we don't just work with families, we also work with schools and other organisations. So if why now is a big part of the problem, and what we learn is that there's things happening either in the community or at school that have been a trigger for the young person's difficulties, then we would work with school or some service in the community to help the young person make a change and to support the other staff that are helping the young person make a change. So that's about getting to this shared understanding.